I bet if the makers of this movie could travel back in time, they would travel back and release this one in theaters. That being said, I didn't have to deal with the people in the theater, so thanks, Amazon. Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we are going to be talking about Amazon Prime's new movie starring Chris Pratt, Yvonne Strahovski, and J.K. Simmons. Today we're going to be talking about The Tomorrow War. If you don't want anything spoiled about this movie, I will say this. Uh, it's free on Amazon Prime, and it's actually really good. Now, it did feel a little long, where I would say that this probably would have made a great TV show because there's a lot of story here. That being said, I really wasn't feeling the length of this movie because I was invested in the story. So, if you want my recommendation, definitely watch it if you have Amazon Prime. It's worth watching. It does start a little slow, so give it a chance. It does start off a little silly, so give it a chance. But when it gets going, I thought it was really good, and I really didn't feel the length. I liked the story, and though some of it's kind of predictable, I still just really had a good time watching this one. It is a solid sci-fi film. And as I said in the intro, this one, they're probably they're probably not too happy they didn't release this one in theaters because I think it would have made a pretty good, really big screen type of movie. So yeah, I do recommend it. What this movie is about is you have Chris Pratt's character named Dan Forrester, who he's a former military guy, but he got out and he used his GI Bill and got like all sorts of degrees and everything. He's really smart, and he thinks that he's going to do something big in life. He's meant to do something big. But right now he's a high school teacher, high school science teacher, and he keeps trying to make things happen, and it's not happening. So that's affecting his happiness and everything. He's married to Betty Gilpin in this movie. She plays Emmy, and they have a young daughter, Muri, and so they set up the family aspect. And while they're at this Christmas party, they're watching TV. They're watching a soccer game. All of a sudden, in the middle of the soccer field, a big portal opens up and a bunch of soldiers come through, and everyone's freaked out. They're like, "We're not here to harm you. We're here to tell you we're here from 30 years in the future, and we are being decimated by aliens. And they need help. They need help from their fathers and grandfathers." And so they talk the government and the governments of the world into sending people into the future, and they would go for 7 days and then come back. They have these wristbands that will bring them back in 7 days, but people are hardly coming back. They're being decimated by these aliens, and people are coming back. And if they come back, they're not whole. They have like support groups and everything for people that barely survive these 7 days. So anyway, it gets to a point where they're not just taking volunteers anymore. They start up a draft. And Chris Pratt's character gets drafted and has to go into the future and fight this war. It's hard to talk about what happens plot-wise, anything past that, because I'll be spoiling some things. Even though I will say this movie has a twist. And I could see it coming a mile away, and you probably will too. IMDb doesn't even give it away, which I was kind of surprised when I brought it up so I could, identify everybody and everything. I was like, oh, they didn't give away the twist. I mean, I'm sure someone will change it eventually, but they didn't give away the twist, so that was good. But there is a twist in this, and you're like, yeah, I bet this is the twist. Thankfully, the smartest thing this movie does is they give away the twist pretty early on in the movie. And I was glad they did that because after the twist, a lot of good character development happens for a few different characters. So I was glad they gave that away. One other thing I like about this movie is the creatures. They call them the White Spikes, and the White Spikes are basically what it sounds like. You have these gnarly creatures, which, by the way, I love the design of them. And they're white, and they have these tentacles that fire spikes. And that's why they call them the White Spikes. It's as simple as that. But the creatures are awesome, and I love the fact that they're not exactly stupid either. I'm not saying they're walking around talking or anything, but you have the males and the females, and the males do the bidding of the female, but these creatures all do seem to have like communications and things like that. So they're not exactly dummies. When the human race is plotting things, they actually kind of figure out kind of what they're trying to do, and it's just kind of neat to see that they're not morons. They're not just brainless creatures or zombies. You know, they actually have some intelligence to them, and that makes them a formidable foe. Not only are they bigger, stronger, and more imposing, they're smart too. So I really dug that. When it comes to the acting, okay, and I have to kind of lump in how the story starts. The story starts off kind of silly. Now, I get that the story being silly is just showing that we have this fine life, and though Chris Pratt's character is not happy, life is good, right? But then I thought it stayed a little too silly at first during their shortened training period on going to the future after being drafted and everything. That being said, while there is still some humor throughout the movie, they started spacing it out better. It was a little too silly at first, so that's why I said it takes a little bit to get into this one. That being said, when they level out the pacing of serious versus silly, it starts to have a feel of like a Marvel movie, where it's like, yeah, you still got some guys cracking jokes and stuff here and there, but there is some stakes as well, and there are some big stakes in this movie, and I like that this movie had that. Chris Pratt, again, he starts off a little silly, but he actually gets some real good character development in this and some real emotional scenes, and I like that. And I can't really talk about those because those, again, would spoil some big plot things. Betty Gilpin, my only disappointment with her being in this is I've seen her play really tough characters in other movies, and I kind of wanted to see her get to play tough in this. She's really good in this, don't get me wrong. I mean, Betty Gilpin, what is she not good in? But she plays Chris Pratt's wife in this, and really, this is why I think in some ways this would have been a better series, because you could have given her some more character development, but she plays a supportive wife, but we hear things about his family when he's in the future, and again, I can't really talk about that. Sam Richardson plays Charlie. He's definitely the comic relief, and he's he becomes Chris Pratt's character's like best friend right away, because they're both kind of science nerds, and he has some really good scenes, and he definitely stays the comic relief throughout the movie. And again, when they use it sparingly, he does really well, and he does have one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I'll just say this: it's very Doom-esque, as in the video game Doom. Edwin Hodge plays Dorian. His character, he's legendary in this for he's gone back like 3 times to the future. He's volunteered to keep going, and you find out why. I mean, he seems very cold at first, but his reasonings for going actually make a lot of sense. And I really did like his character. You're not supposed to like him at first, but he definitely grows on you, and he's really good. Yvonne Strahovski, she plays one of the lead scientists in the future, and she's trying to find ways to defeat the White Spikes. And she actually comes up with like one of the big theories that may or may not help them later on in the movie. One thing I was a little disappointed, not because of who it was, but how much they weren't in the movie. J.K. Simmons. I mean, everybody loves J.K. Simmons, right? And any amount of him in a movie is not going to be enough. He's really not in this a lot. He plays Chris Pratt's dad, estranged dad. I will say this though: what little they use him is amazing because he's amazing. He's funny in his J.K. Simmons way. You know how he can be very just kind of imposing and funny at the same time. And he has a good character arc in this. I would have liked a little more of him, but it makes sense what little they used him. But he's really good in this. When it comes to time travel in this movie, while you could see minor bits and pieces of plot holes here and there, they do a good job of explaining what works and what doesn't. I guess what it is it's not really technically time travel. It's more of a wormhole where they can only have one set wormhole. They can't say, well, we want to go back in time. Because someone even asks, Marilyn Rashkov is in this, and she is one of the civilians that are drafted to go. And she asks, why don't we just go back earlier in the war? And they say, well, as time moves, time keeps moving. It's not we get to choose where we go. We are stuck at this 30-year point of when we can go back and forth. So they do a good job of, breaking out the loophole. Well, why don't we, go here and get, more people from here or something like that. No, we're stuck with this 30-year gap, and as time moves where we're at, time is moving forward where they're at. So I did like what they did there. It kind of explained away some, well, why don't we go back and do this or go back and do that? That being said, the way things work out in the end, a little convenient, but you know what? I was enjoying myself and enjoying the story, so I'll allow it. But yeah, this movie, it's for me. It was, while it started a little silly, it was a really good, just solid sci-fi film. Again, I think I could have seen this as a TV series or a mini series, and I think it would have worked very well. Also, that being said, this movie has almost a 2.5 hour runtime, and I'm guessing that's why they didn't really want to risk it in theaters, because now that movies are just coming back, a movie with that length better be like a known property or something like that. I don't think they would want to risk putting... I understand why they sold it to Amazon, because they wouldn't want to see it flop in the theaters and they would lose all this money. Why not get the guaranteed money from Amazon instead? That being said, I think I would have liked to have seen this on a big screen. I think it would have been really good. I thought the effects were good. The creatures were good. The CG was good. I liked the sets. I liked the acting. I liked a lot about this movie. Again, I think it was better when it finally found the right balance of humor versus serious. The serious parts are really good, and I think that they are the better parts of the movie. If this movie would have stayed silly the whole time, because that's what I was afraid of when it kept being silly when they got to the future right at first, I was just like, this isn't the right feel. This isn't the right tone of this movie, but it finally finds the right tone, and it works really well, and I was really invested until the end. So yeah, I like the acting, I like the setup, I like the plot. Again, there's some predictable stuff, but at least they don't, again, there was a twist, and I was afraid they're going to, hold it to the end, like Shyamalan style, which really would have irked me, because it's like, yes, we know this is the twist. No, they give it to you, and then it actually leads to good character development. So yeah, I really dug this movie. Is it a perfect movie? No, but is it a darn good one? A really good sci-fi film, which, again, I would have loved to have seen in theaters. Yeah, I really highly recommend this one. The Tomorrow War is on Amazon Prime, and you should check it out. See you later.